Hi everyone, welcome once again to Connecting the Dot, the platform where we don't just scratch the surface. We dig deep, ask the hard question, and peel back the layers of truths. I am Ibrahim Traoré, your host, your brother, and your companion on this journey of truths, reason, and radical reflection. Now, if you have been riding with us, you already know this is not just another program. This is a movement, a sanctuary for critical minds and bold voices, a place where assumptions are questioned, narratives are unmasked, and illusions are shattered. But if this is your first time, I ask you, what are you waiting for? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell like it is a call to national awakening, because that's exactly what it is. At Connecting the Dot, we don't tarry in gossip or follow the noise. We connect history to headlines, emotion to evidence, and passion to purpose. This is a platform where ordinary people become extraordinary thinkers. Let the dots begin to connect. Let the truth echo louder than propaganda, and let's chart a new path together. Welcome to CTD, for CTD is more than just a program, but a movement. In today's episode, we ask a question: why does the world powers want to eliminate Ibrahim Traoré? Yes, in a world where power speaks louder than principle, in a world ruled not by morality, but by interest, power is exalted through dominance. You see, Ibrahim Traoré survived 18 assassination attempts. But in order to understand clearly why the world powers desperately want to assassinate him, there is a wisdom in giving a historical context. But before that, listen to this.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that inure to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples across. Even in Sudan, what's going on with the rapid support forces and Burhan of the Sudan forces, when you get down to it, is all about the revenue that can be drawn out of that, and there are nefarious actors in the CCP or in sometimes Russia are complicit in those activities.
Yes, this is General Michael Langley, the first black man to lead the U.S. African Command. He accused Ibrahim Traoré of stealing his country's gold to enrich himself. Now, let's take a step back, zoom out through the long arc of history for you to understand their desperation. Right from the moment the Portuguese docked their ship along our western shore in the 1400s, Africa's story took a violent turn. They came with chains, they came with slavery, ripping apart families, cultures, and kingdoms. And as if that was not enough, they returned in the 1800s for the scramble for Africa, where they carved up our continent like meat in the butcher's stool, without a single African at the table, in what is today known as Berlin Conference. Then came colonialism, and when we resisted and began to rise, they gave us something even worse: neocolonialism. Control without change, occupation without flags, manipulation masked as aid. Yet, despite all this, Africa still stands. And today, one man has emerged as the symbol of that resistance: Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Young, defiant, unyielding. He speaks not just for his people, but for the spirit of every African youth who is tired of being silenced. exploited and robbed of their future. Traoré is not just a soldier. He is a symbol. He is Sankara reawakening. He is Nkrumah on chain. He is the raw, unapologetic embodiment of a new Africa rising. And because he embodied that spirit, they fear him. They know that if he succeeds, 1,000 Traoré will rise, not just in Ouagadougou, but in Kano, in Kinshasa, in Kigali, in Kampala, and all across Africa. And so they plot not just to destabilize Burkina Faso, but to neutralize him, to assassinate the symbol, to dim the flame before it becomes a wildfire. The question is, will Traoré be another footnote, another obituary in a long list of betrayed heroes? No, we will stand. We will speak. We will resist. Because the real war is not just for territory, it is for the soul of Africa. So wherever you are on this continent, from Lagos to Lusaka, from Bamako to Bujumbura, know that the battle is not only in Burkina Faso. It is here. It is now. It is us. They do not fear the guns in our leaders' hands. They fear the ideas in their hearts. Ideas of sovereignty. Ideas of dignity. Ideas of truly independent Africa. That is what they fear. That is why they sabotage. That is why they killed. That is why they pasture. But is this the first time they did that? You see, in 1969, a young soldier named Muammar Gaddafi took over leadership in Libya. He kicked out foreign military bases. He nationalized oil. He used the money to build roads, schools, and hospitals. He gave free electricity to his people and no IMF loan. And what did they do to him? They called him a dictator, a threat to global peace. Then came the sanction, the media slander, and finally, NATO bombs. Gaddafi was killed in cold blood, not because he failed his people, but because he dared to make Africa independent. Now fast forward in 2022, another young soldier rises. His name is Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso. He sees foreign powers taking gold while his people suffer in poverty. He stands up and says no more. He kicks out French troops. He cancels exploitative mining deals. He starts building a sovereign path for his country. Sound familiar? Yes, it is. It is just like a déjà vu. And now, just like Gaddafi, he's been painted with the same brush. He is too radical. He is stealing resources. He's not democratic enough. Does this sound familiar? It is the same script, just a different actor. Haven't we learned yet Africa? Let's be honest with ourselves, my people. What is democracy when your land is being stolen? What is freedom when your leaders are puppets? Gaddafi dreamed of united Africa with one passport, one army, one currency backed by gold, and they killed him for it. Traoré is rejecting Western exploitation and building regional alliances with Mali, Niger, and Guinea. And now they are setting the narrative. He must go. Let us not be deceived again. Let's lay it bare, my people. Africa is not being seen as a partner, not by the West, and not even by the so-called rising East. To them, Africa is a battlefield, a pawns in the political military chessboard of empires where they make their moves and play their games. But don't take it from me. Listen to this.
Information and narratives are power then, aren't they?
Absolutely. And as I said a few minutes ago, and I always will tout this, that we own the facts. We own the facts. We know exactly what the Chinese Communist Party is doing, and to some degree what the Russian Federation is doing in their propaganda operations, but we don't own the narrative. Both of them own the narrative.
We sure don't. One more thing for you, General Langley. The approach that we have had with USAID and the other things like the President's initiative on AIDS. How does our U.S. approach compare and contrast to the approach of Russia in Africa and also Communist China in Africa?
Oh, Chairman, we've always had the lead. So what you're seeing in those two competitors or challengers, they're following in our wake. They see what works as far as our influence and deepening partnerships through those soft powers, whether it be health diplomacy or whether it be in development type programs. So they're following in our wake, trying to replicate what we do best. And I think the African countries know this, and so this is where, as we start to look at going forward, as State Department starts to reset these programs, looking at what worked and what didn't work, and doubling down on what does work. I think we have enough capital built up in these countries for them to ensure their stabilization and also prosperity. The other two competitors are just trying to replicate what we do best.
That was a critical insight on what the US military really plans to do in Africa moving forward. In short, Langley came with a very clear message. America cannot take its eyes off Africa. They don't see our humanity, our vision or sovereignty. They only see our resources, our land, our geostrategic value. To them, Africa is the prize to be seized, not the partner to be respected. That's the tragedy. We remember what happened to Sankara, to Lumumba, to Nkrumah, and now we are watching. Professor Patrick Lumumba of Kenya spoke bitterly and truthfully about the reality of Africa and the future of Ibrahim Traoré. Listen to this.
This is not the time for cowards who die times without number. Because if you are a coward today, your children and children's children will pay the price of our cowardice. We must speak out and bear the consequences. Yes, right now, you can see what they are trying to do to eliminate my good friend Ibrahim Traoré. Survived many assassination attempts. Because when you are doing good, they'll take you out. It is Samora Moises Machel who once said, when you hear the former colonizers saying you are good, you must pause and ask yourself, what evil are you committing against your people? You'll never earn the dividends of good governance. Today, I'm reluctant to use the word democracy. Because what is it? John Hendrik Clark, that great American, said that when African countries regained their independence, not a single one of them adopted a government system that is based on African traditions. We all adopted systems that were inherited from our erstwhile colonizers. And Clark says, none of us will ever succeed on the basis of those systems.
As a matter of fact, we can summarize his speech in simple sentence that not a single African state adopted a government system that is based on African traditions. The post-colonial states have all adopted systems that we inherited from our actual colonizers. And Clark said, none of us will ever succeed on the basics of those systems. So I ask you, how many more do we have to lose before we say enough? How many more must bleed for the world to respect our black skin and our bold voice? This is not about one man. It is a movement. It is about the spirit of self-determination. If Gaddafi leads the march, Traoré must not be left to carry the torch alone. And this is not only limited to Africa. They have done it before. To Saddam in Iraq, even to Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, and now the pattern continues. First, they damage your name. They say you are dangerous. Then they make your people doubt you. After that, they either send troops, push uprisings, or say they are coming to protect human rights. But really, they are protecting their own interests. Oil, gold, uranium, and power. Now here is where it gets deeper and darker. Have you ever paused long enough to understand why African leaders and presidents are silenced? Is it out of envy to Ibrahim Traoré's influence? Yes, but there is more to that. They are also afraid. The oppressors have realized Africans are waking up, so they have changed tactic. Yes, instead of always using foreign faces, they are now using our own people, black people with powerful influences, including our presidents. Why? Because if the person wearing the suits look like us, speak like us, maybe we'll trust the mission. But brothers and sisters, let not be fooled by the skin tone. It's not about color, it is about character. The man appearing on your screen is a prime example of that. His name Michael Langley, the head of US African Command, and the first African American to head the command. Michael Langley had the perfect chance to rewrite the military relationship between America and Africa. But did he? No. Because the system that put him there has rules. And those rules are simple. Control Africa quietly, smartly, through narrative, through confusion. So when the media keeps saying Traoré is a dictator, his government is illegitimate, and the goal is not just to criticize, it is to plant doubt in our mind. And when enough people believe the lies, chaos follow. That's when the helpers come in. But they don't come to help, they come to help themselves. We must ask ourselves, why do they fear young African leaders who want independence? Why do they call it dictatorship when we want to take back our wealth? Why do they celebrate us only when we dance, sing, or play football, but not when we fight for our future? Listen, Africa is not weak. We are not a playground for superpowers. We are not a continent waiting to be saved. We're a continent rising to save itself. The next time you hear a story about an African leader being painted as a villain, pause and ask, whose story is this and who benefits from it? Because as we say on this platform, truth has no tribe, no accent, no skin tone, just facts. But here lies the deeper truth, one I urge every Nigerian, indeed every African, to understand. Great powers do not love, they leverage. They do not promise, they pasture. And in the great theater of global politics, smaller nations are often just props, moved, used, and forgotten. So with that, I leave you today. So stay awake, stay aware, and most importantly, stay united. This is Connecting the Dot. This is the voice of a new Africa. I am Ibrahim Traoré. Let the dots begin to connect.